Well, how is it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 48 of the Paws Up podcast. My goodness, Kevin and Johnny, my co-hosts and awesome friends. We are 48 episodes into this thing. 50 is right around the corner. That is super exciting. But we have a great show lined up for you all today. We are with a very special guest, good friend of the show, a friend of pretty much all of us. We see him every time we go to a damn game. It is Carlton Gillespie, pretty much, I would say, the face of FIU Student Radio right now, among a bunch of other things that this man does. And he does a lot. So, Carlton, how the hell are you doing?
Good. Well, very wisely, they don't actually let me be the face, but they do let me be the voice for what should be obvious reasons.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know how you guys ever get started. Like the intro music, if we could just keep that rocking, we could do that for an hour.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You could thank Gus from Lemon City Live for that. He hooked us up for that. But
Gus, as the kids say, you cooked.
He cooked. No. But no, Carlton, you do a lot of stuff, man. You're pretty much every time there's an FIU event on campus, whether it be this past football season, basketball right now, and then baseball like very soon. You're there. You're calling some games, and you're doing quite a bit. So you know what? As Kevin said, you're cooking. I guess we're cooking. Everything's just lights out, man. Everything is just
lights out. Lights out.
I knew you were gonna do. I was thinking about doing it too, and then I was like, he's not gonna do it this early in the show, so I'm gonna wait a little bit.
That's the thing. It's when you never expect it, Kevin. You got to learn that, my guy. So, Carlton, let's get right into it, man. Let's start off with very fun question. I asked a very similar question when we had Hunter Dubois on the show. Granted, very different work that you and Carlton do. But what was the first time in your life that you can recall grabbing a microphone and calling a sports game?
Oh, grabbing a mic. I mean, the first time I ever, you mean like practice or real life? I mean,
let's do both. How about both?
Actually, I used to, I would watch Premier League games with the sound off.
So we have a soccer fanatic here with us. That's cool, I guess.
Yeah, I would practice it with the sound off because I still to this day am concerned that there isn't a single good American accented soccer play-by-play broadcaster.
Okay.
I shouldn't say not good. I mean, there's plenty of guys that are great, but on the
left,
left,
Peter Drury or
exactly, or Ian Dark or any of those, it's always seems to be the preferred method. And then, of course, doesn't hold a candle to any of the Spanish language broadcasts.
Oh, for sure. Those are so good.
And underrated, the Arabic broadcast is terrific too. I'm serious. I mean, whatever. But real life, you can look at the man to my, screen left, scene right, Jonathan Mayer. We sat in, it was UAB, FIU baseball versus UAB.
Yeah.
That was a good
one. That was I can give you this story of that game. It was not a good game.
You just straight up have that on tap, Johnny?
That's remarkable. That's why I love working with this guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, SID for a reason. The final score was 6-5 on March.
We all saw that photo shoot, by the way, with Johnny on Instagram. That was something, man.
I was there to watch it. And I was supposed to go next, but a baseball player walked in. I think it was Alwine.
Chase Engelhardt.
It was either Engelhardt or Alwine, one of the two players. And I'm like, damn it, they got my spot, man. But I didn't want to do the holding the bat thing or the glove.
I didn't want to do it either.
I just wanted a simple pause up or a little peace sign. They gave Johnny about 10 to 15 photos of glory.
Glory is an understatement.
They had him holding the bat. They had him doing a pause up.
They majestic.
They gave him I think they even gave him a video, man. They gave him everything. And then when I see all the players posting their IG stuff, I'm like, oh man, these are cool. These came out dope. All of a sudden, I see the damn SID with his own picture. I'm like, FIU gives him the treatment, man.
The one with him holding the bat behind his back, bro. That went hard.
Yeah, that's hard. He was nervous, but he showed me that before he.
Yeah, I showed you in class last week.
He's like, I don't like this. I'm like, you're nuts. This is rad.
And I posted it. Yeah,
it was cool, Johnny. Come on, man.
I like this.
I bet it's doing numbers.
I
Is
think
that
it
it?
is.
Yeah, and
Well,
he
private
doesn't post on
account,
Insta that
you
much
get those
too.
numbers.
Your third ever Instagram post, right?
Yeah, I'm private. I'm private account, so
Oh, okay.
I don't
Well, anyway, getting back on track here, because I know we could spend all day talking about Johnny's Instagram and how how good he looks when he has that right angle,
Well,
But
I came prepared to talk about, so I hope.
Yeah.
okay. Well, then let me do a 180 here. Then let's talk about you getting to FIU.
Hold on.
No.
Wait,
You have to
we're
talk
talking
about what
UAB
came
first.
before
We're talking UAB
FIU.
baseball. Let's talk about his first game playing.
Let's talk about what came before FIU. Carlton, you went to
What question am I
FSU.
supposed to answer right now?
Yeah, hold on. Okay, hold on.
Who's holding the
Go on a
talking?
tangent for a second.
Johnny, you know there's a planner, right?
I know, but I'm
You
saying
have the planner, my guy.
cut him off. He was talking about March 24th, 2023, UAB baseball versus FIU.
I wasn't specifically talking about March 24th because only you have that information on tap like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that was a tough series, UAB series. But and then I guess if we're going to answer the original question, baseball last year was when I really started doing play-by-play seriously, which it's a lot of work. I think a lot of people think it's easier than maybe that's because I make it. I'd like to think it's because I make it look easy, but it was kind of then when I realized A, I'm underprepared. B, it's harder than you think. And honestly, I'm very grateful to you, Jonathan Mayer, because you did guide me through a ton of that. You always come prepared. You know your stuff, and it's easy to bounce off you. So you really kind of gave me what is normally a sink or swim thing. You gave me a very soft landing.
We had some great broadcasts.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
We
Give
had
it up
some
for
great
Johnny. Give it up
podcasts.
for Johnny. Kevin, you better start clapping. Give it up for Johnny.
Now Carlton gets to teach me. You see how
Oh,
it works?
yeah.
It's like full circle.
Perfect.
Like
Look at this synergy we have here with the future of FIU student broadcasting, which I can speak for myself. It was awesome when I did it, calling games with Johnny as well. So,
awesome.
All right. So you're from Broward County, I believe, Carlton. I please forgive me. I don't know exactly what part of Broward. I assume. Were you closer?
Somewhere in Broward. We do not need an exact location of where Carlton.
Okay, that's fine. I'm from.
All right, Kevin, taking charge. All right, well then,
and
He's
proud
from
of
Pompano. There.
Pompano. Hey, I like Pompano. Okay,
Living-
I wanted to know. All right, so
Hey,
Anyway.
you never know if someone wants to not give up their location.
that's valid. But the reason I bring this up is that obviously you have FIU, you have the school over in Boca, not to mention a whole host of other colleges at FIU who have similarly great communication courses. So just what made you pull the trigger on FIU initially? Was it based on on the communication course specifically? Was it something else that really made you change your opinion to go here? Maybe just what was that all like?
Well, I mean, specifically for FIU, I was already in the workforce for a number of years. So already a seasoned office professional, if you will. And it was really during the COVID pandemic when the whole world shut down that, I think everybody, right, took a bit of a mental reset and thought, hey, is everything good? Are we doing what we want to be doing, every day? And I know certainly, I'm sure it's inspired a few of you guys. I'm not the only person who inspired a life change in it, but that coincides with the added benefit of everything being online.
Yeah.
So it wasn't hard to go back to school, right? I could kind of shop around because you're right. FAU being 20, 25 minutes from me, certainly a lot easier to get to than, south of the Dolphin Mall, where in Tamiami, right? But, with everything being online, it was just super easy. And so when I was looking through the programs, it was the first year that they started specifically a sports broadcasting concentration, within the digital broadcasting school. So it was an ability for me to say, oh, I really like this program. I as a seasoned office professional, I was on all of the professors' LinkedIn pages, like well before I even applied, to make sure that, it's kind of the older version of Instagram stalking someone. I was in their LinkedIn's, like, what job did they have before? Is this just going to be someone in academia who's going to teach me broadcasting, or someone who's got skills and connections and real world experience? So the FIU program is stellar, and it's taking off now. And I'm excited, honestly, to be an alumni of it soon, because I know that in 10 years they're going to be churning out 1,000 of me, better than me. They're going to be churning out Kevin's.
I'm here for 4 years, so I'll have time.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you about your time at FSU, because you did go and get, as you mentioned, you were already in the workforce before you came to FIU. So talk to us a little bit about FSU and your time there. And did you ever think that did you ever do any work with student newspaper, any of that stuff at FSU?
Yeah. First of all, go Noles. Love saying that in Miami. Makes me a targeted man. Yeah, no, at FS, yeah, I mean, obviously, take the pause and put them to the sky, for sure. Yeah, no, Florida State, it was kind of one of those, I got out of high school. I knew I had to go to a school. I applied everywhere. I got in, everywhere in Florida that I wanted to get into. I chose FSU over UF. Actually, it's kind of funny. I was on a tour at UF, and as we're walking around, a guy just breaks into the tour group like a student and just yells at us and goes, "Oh yeah, baby Gators," and does the thing. And I was like, absolutely not. No, absolutely. We can turn this thing around right now. It ain't happening. But I went to Florida State, had a great time, loved it. I worked with the radio station up there is WVFS, Tallahassee. It's the student-run radio program.
Well, the voice of Florida State.
The voice of Florida State, yeah. That was, man, if so many people up there would just do that at me, right, after they heard me. Because we had Tomahawk Talk, which was an hour-long sports program, and then, 50 minutes to each hour, we'd have a news and sports segment. So I did a ton of radio there. And then, of course, we got press credentials there for football, baseball, all that stuff to just cover and write articles at. I even finagled some back in the day, the NASL, which was the second the division below the MLS. They had a team in Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Armada. And I went and did a few Jacksonville Armada games. I got a couple Fort Lauderdale Strikers, but that's a whole different story. And even Miami FC back in the day. So, yeah, I've been around. I'd wanted to do this for a long time, and that was kind of the idea coming out of Florida State. I ended up getting a job down here at a brewery, Funky Buddha. I know. I think the athletics department made a stop there for their tour this summer, right?
Yes.
So
that
might be the best job I've ever had. I mean, what a great place to work. But I started working at the engineering firm I work at now. First as an editor, making sure people stop using semicolons where they don't belong, which is a strange thing. People are very comfortable that they know what that means, and they really don't. But within 3 months of working there, I was the marketing manager. So, if that tells you anything about the state of the company, I moved up pretty quickly. So I've been working in a similar capacity around in that field for a while. And, I think the best thing that I've done with my FSU degree is get back into FIU. So it was great though. I mean the program up there is fantastic, and the student radio there is one of the best around.
Talk to us a little bit about I think it's MMC 3932, the class with Mr. Johnny. You're muted. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I think it's called something else now. It's called like.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah. Originally,
that was the original name.
Originally, it was
the
called
OG name. That's
3932C.
3932. As in.
All right. Well, let's just do it. Let's just make it very simple. Talk to us a little bit about the class with AJ Ricketts, who we had on the pod not too long ago. No, we had him on for
not so long ago. That was like episode 9, I think. Kevin.
No. It was like we're already in double digits. But anyways, that doesn't matter. Talk to us about why you took AJ's class, just the vibes, what you guys do over there, because I may be taking that class. I know, Johnny, you already did it once. I think you're doing it again. So, and for any FIU students who may be watching, I mean, it's a good time to give Mr. AJ Ricketts a shout out for what he does.
Yeah, well, I'm not anybody's guidance counselor, but Kevin, take the class. And I know you guys saw me give that pitch to Keyshawn Frett when he came and did his basketball.
I'm by that soon.
Yeah, I grabbed him by the shoulders and said, "This is AJ. Take his class immediately," right? Because really, it's like an incubator. Every single person who took that class, even those who weren't comfortable on mic, grew tremendously. I thought I was good, and then I got in that class and realized that there's so much room to grow, and there's stuff that has made me a great broadcaster. Not even just in play-by-play, but my stand-ups have improved tremendously. My writing, I think there's kind of a mindset that people get into when they're writing for a script or writing for a stand-up or writing for a toss, and they kind of get robotic. And he does a great job of being like, yeah, robotic's fine. Here's what it looks like if we get artistic. Here's where the levels are, right? And I think it's the most valuable thing you can do. And there was, as much as he could possibly do, there was as much real world experience as he could get there. A class period would be, he'd go over some of our stuff, look it up, and then be like, great, we're doing live shots, no skips, no breaks. And so many people, really struggle once the camera comes on. They laugh because they're nervous. They mess up a word, and they're like, great game from the dang, what, man, I forgot.
I thought you were being serious when you messed up.
Yeah, right.
Awesome.
No, see, I've gone through the class. I don't make any mistakes now.
Yeah. Is that right?
But no, it's really like I said, it's like an incubator. Your skills will grow in ways you didn't think they could.
No, for sure. I mean, I can, cast. I took that class, and I think for giving opportunities for all students, like call games at the pitch, the field, or no, the pitch and the field are the same thing. The arena, all it's all good stuff.
Just say all sports. It doesn't matter.
All sports, yeah.
The playing surfaces, yeah.
Playing surfaces. But I want to move on to this. You had a cool opportunity. You talk about broadcasting and getting opportunities to be on TV. You were on local television back in I think it was September, October, November, one of those months. You were on Local 10 News with This Week in South Florida with Glenna Milberg.
Yeah.
You and a couple, I think Tanya Jimenez, shout out to her. She was on it. A couple of people from UM, but yeah, you were able to talk on a roundtable, talk about that experience and getting to be on local TV for the first time, expressing your thoughts as a college student.
Oh, yeah, I know about this. The background, the story before this was pretty funny. But
yeah.
Oh well, I know that it was. I'm pretty sure it was November 5th because November 4th. I've got this one on deck because November 4th is the last time I got my hair cut before last Sunday. Wow. So yeah, you're getting a very presentable version of me. But I know this because my barber calls me my famous guy. That's what he calls me now. Because I told, where I'm in the chair and he's like, what are you getting your haircut for? I'm like, I'm going to be on TV tomorrow. And he's immediately like, take 5 of my business cards. We got a network, tell him I did your hair. They always plug that at the end. I'm like, I just don't know if it's that serious, buddy, but I'll do whatever I can. I went back and saw him like last Sunday and he's cutting my hair for like 10 minutes. And he's like, all of a sudden he's like, that's right. My famous guy, man. You were on TV, So yeah, someone at a Christmas party came up and said that to me, and I was like jump scared. They were like, "Hey, man, you were great on TV." I was like, "What? Where? When?" And they were like, "The thing. You all sent us a link to it." I was like, "Oh yeah, right. That's right."
No, watch this, Johnny. Send it to me when you get the chance.
It's not sports related, but it's really good.
No, I just want to watch it to see how Carlton did.
Yeah, he was good.
I'm pretty sure the photo of Carlton they used for the graphics was a screenshot of that time with WSP. Maybe it was the
I think it was from Side.
It could have been Kaplan News as well, and that's what I want to get to in a sec. But
okay, I should say I probably should have started here. Glenn is an unbelievable presenter, right? So basically this week in South Florida is a news wrap-up show. So she'll be interviewing either state or federal legislators about topics in South Florida. She's had, the mayor of Miami Beaches on for their when they had their very contentious election recently. And she always has a roundtable on of community leaders. And so I got the opportunity to represent kind of the students for what was a student roundtable. To just get, it was great.
You're a leader, Carlton. You're a leader.
That's why. I don't know if I can tell this on air, but I won't say who. But the text that I got was clearly copy and pasted from someone else because the text I got was, hey, so and so, do you have any students who aren't a total train wreck on camera, And like we need someone who wants to do this. And I was like, hey, that's me. I'm great on this. I'll be great. So yeah, but no, it was a terrific experience. We were on there. It's 30 minutes of live TV with commercial breaks, obviously, and just being able to kind of talk, it really openly. And Glenna was facilitating the discussion, and she's terrific. Actually, I meant to reach out to her. I've got pertaining to our roundtable. I came across a fun piece of news I was going to share with her, but just reminded me. But yeah, it was terrific, and hopefully, she seemed to be very impressed. The people at Channel 10 were very, very pumped up that we were all there. Even some FIU grads that were producers. Stan Beaubois was working as his internship, I think, or he was working there as a producer, and Kenya, who was a member of Newsbreak for a while. So good Panther representation there. And they were fired up. So hopefully they do it again and we can get more FIU students, because it was a great experience.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It sounds like an awesome time. And just being on TV, it's an awesome experience. Just seeing yourself on TV. I know
everything that I do is for my mom. Like I'm on TV and my mom is like the happiest, she's she and my dad listen to every single game, even if it was last year. Who was that, Johnny, where FIU lost like 22 to
UTSA?
UTSA, heck of a team, by the way. Yeah. But they blew us out like 22-19, and they're like, my mom and dad are like, that was a great conversation you guys had about bowling in the 8th inning. I'm like, why are you listening still?
You were talking about bowling.
That was an all-time great little segment.
Yeah, no, it was.
Radio
but yeah, no, it was 22-3. The game had been over for 6 innings, and they listen. They're, everything that I do, they're so incredibly supportive. My mom and my dad, they listen to everything. They watch everything. They send it to all their friends. So
this has all of a sudden become the most wholesome episode of the Paws Up podcast.
That's why we got more views than AJ did on that baseball broadcast we did for the blue and gold World Series. When AJ went to basketball, he had like 3 viewers, and we ended up with like 20, 30. So
we love you, AJ. In case
we still love you, AJ. Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, but apparently check the ratings, nerd. We're killing it, AJ.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, all right.
Well, I thought it was getting too wholesome. I thought we'd do some call-outs.
Okay. No, I
praising the guy and telling everyone to take his class. I'm just
that is true.
If you take AJ's class, you'll get more viewers than him.
Score.
Listen. We would all recommend someone who really wants to get into the field to take his class, right? Everyone here 100% would recommend it.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, no, absolutely. It is a phenomenal class, and AJ does one hell of a job. So
yeah, I wanted to ask you, I guess we're calling this section Art of the Mic. So let's talk about you calling games, Carlton. What was the biggest thing you were worried about, before you called that first game against UAB and then moving forward?
I mean, I think what everyone is worried about when they first start is that they won't have anything to talk about. It's kind of this weird compounding thing where, half a second of dead air is no big deal. 1 second, not so bad. 3 seconds of dead air feels like an hour, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest fear. And it does. Like I said, I'm glad I had, Mayor there. If not just to bounce something off of somebody, but someone who's done it before and can kind of walk you through it. But it really does help you see the game in a very different way because you're looking in a different way, right? You want to find things to discuss. You want to analyze things, find stuff to talk about. It kind of made me really appreciate the FIU baseball stadium because I'd be there in the game and I just all of a sudden get overwhelmed by the sunset reflecting off the buildings at FIU and, the planes landing into MIA. And I was like, people got to know about this. I got to start talking about the setting and the scene and the atmosphere and all this stuff that makes, going to sports games great. So that's one thing. You worry about running out of stuff to talk about, but it melts pretty quickly.
That's why we're going to be here for more than over an hour.
You're not wrong, but you know what? Those tend to be our best episodes. Didn't we just spend like 90 minutes?
I think we almost spent 2 hours just talking about FIU, and I was pretty.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's always something to talk about here,
somehow. But yeah, Johnny, you're up.
I'm up.
Yeah.
Yes, Johnny, we have a planner.
Sorry,
Johnny, I just praised your ability to keep the ball rolling.
Well, guess what? I'll keep the ball rolling right now. So you talk about all the sports you've done. Like we started with baseball, then you got into football. Now you're the guy for basketball, which it's been fun to hear you call some games. And with all of that, what has been maybe the most difficult sport to call? I think for me, if I start football was a difficult one, but what for you specifically was a sport that maybe you got into and you're like, dang, I got to take some time to learn it and get used to it to kind of get the wheels churning and get better at it.
Yeah, it's definitely football, and I think it didn't help. I called FIU in Western Kentucky solo.
Ooh.
And a solo football broadcast is taxing, right? It's because I always think about it this way, right? And it's kind of similar in basketball, but in baseball, the series of events is more or less predetermined, right? The pitcher will throw the ball and the hitter will try and hit it. And you know exactly who the hitter is. They come up in order. You know who the pitcher is. If it's a new pitcher, they make a big giant deal about it, so you're not going to miss it, right? But it's like, oh, man, is that, and God love them, FIU's tight ends are numbered 85, 88, 89, and 99, which is difficult to see.
And you got the Beer Bros.
Yeah, right, two beers.
Yeah, but one of them didn't even – we'll talk about that later, but one of them didn't even play.
Yeah, but they're on my sheet, right? And so I've got to look up from my position, which unfortunately, Student Radio, they don't give us the bird's nest, right? They don't give us the best vantage point and say, is that an 85 or an 89 or a 99? And you got to call out formations, blitz packages. If it looks like they're geared up to run or pass, if it's play action. There's so much stuff and solo in football that it's constant, right? You can't shut up when it's just you. So yeah, solo football was easily the hardest call of all of
them. Okay.
Shout out basketball though. It ain't easy sometimes when the action is super fast paced and you have to keep up with what in the world.
Oh, with the way this FIU team likes to run, that definitely took some getting used to. I mean,
and that's one thing too, because I did the game with Carlton, the UTEP one, and that was my first ever basketball game, never done in my life.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, for baseball it's easier because baseball we could have a whole conversation and it's fine.
Yeah,
but for basketball, it's like you got to be quick, man. And we'll talk about Keyshawn in a bit because he did a great job, and I commend him for what he did, man. Because for basketball, the first time doing it, it's not easy at all. I mean. And, you get better at it as you go. And you find those moments where you could probably, put in, at least looking at it from the analyst side, you could slip in something here or there. And maybe sometimes you just don't talk because it gets to the point where you don't need
you have to collect yourself.
Especially with FIU because as Carlton mentioned, and that UTEP FIU game was a very fast-paced game. There are two fast-paced offenses. We'll talk about that later because FIU basketball certainly had themselves a year, but yeah, I mean, I totally get where Carlton's coming from, and you too, Jake, with the speed of the game.
The speed of the game, yeah, it's crazy. That's why sometimes just calling baseball games was so fun because you got to call it on your own terms.
Yeah.
You just had to do a quick read on what the pitcher threw and if it made contact with the bat, and that was about it, right? Everything else just was kind of an afterthought. So
yeah, and it's important, right? It's not just speed, but also rhythm, right? Like Kevin, you're getting at that. Sometimes you just don't have to say anything. Right. Sometimes you can just let the band go dum 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 before you jump back in. Right. You have to be very situationally aware as a broadcaster, which is hard to do because you've got to be dialed in and know exactly what's going on. And you also have to be situationally aware enough to be like, we can let this simmer for a little bit, or, and I know as an analyst, that's one of the tougher things to do is when do I get in here? Right? When am I actually adding value? Which for your first game, you were terrific, Kevin.
I'll take
it. Hey, all right, let's go, Kevin.
Hey, Carlton is one of the best to do it, so it's easy to work with him.
Come on.
And we did baseball. No, we haven't done baseball together. No, we did that one game.
You did the Blue and Gold World Series, right?
Yeah, that was the first time we'd ever done it together, and yeah,
Yeah.
so we've gotten pretty good feedback. I would say. I know Carlton told me he's gotten good feedback from our duo, and for baseball, it's going to be very fun. That's all I'll say because this is a fun team.
We'll get to baseball near the end, of course.
I mean, we need to talk baseball,
but yeah. So, Carlton, as I'm sure you know, every announcer tends to have a sort of style or distinction in the way they call the games that fans or viewers just tend to resonate. Obviously, you have your own. Kevin has his own. Johnny has his own. Johnny's like strike three. But I wanted to ask you, Carlton. He has a very distinct one. But have there been any? You had talked about the soccer announcers, but have there been any other announcers from different sports that you've heard, regardless of the sport, that you have based parts of your style on?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're in the middle of basketball season, and Eric Reed has been the voice of the Miami Heat for as long as I think any of you guys will probably remember. Through all those LeBron runs, through the down years, through the Chris Bosh, Goran Dragic era, like
that was fire.
Yeah, that was a fun time, right?
Shout out to UD. He's getting his jersey retired today.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a ton of guys, right? Like Mike Trico is fantastic. Mike Breen is great. I love Joe Tessitore because a lot of people are kind of iffy on. I think Joe Tessitore's got the best job ever, right? He does football sometimes, but he does all of the boxing for ESPN, which is my favorite sport. And he gets to call like Holy Moly and the Rescue Dog competitions. Like, yeah, what a gig, dude! That guy gets to. I mean, he gets to do he's basically the Let's Take a Silly One announcer whenever they need.
Are you saying you want to be like him and you want to be a Let's Take a Silly announcer? That's your goal?
I would, if I could do like Holy Moly, Dog Breed. And the thing that you guys might not know about me, but a lot of people kind of rag on me for is I'll watch any sport. I love all of them. I'll watch on Christmas what we were doing. Everybody's watching the NBA. I've got my whole family watching the AKC Dog Agility Challenge.
No, Carlton.
Swear. It's a blast. I love that stuff.
Carlton has to be one of the most positive people I know, man.
You
could have put me in front of a TV with dog stuff for 5 minutes.
You're wrong because it's rad, actually.
It's rad.
He likes cricket. He knows everything about cricket. He spoke to Peter Pratt
for
an hour about
the
cricket.
sport. I'm just kidding, but that's crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, if I can I tell you my new secret obsession?
So here we go.
It's an Indian game called, I think it's pronounced kabaddi or kabaddi. Yeah. So it's essentially like Red Rover and dodgeball and tag at the same time. So
I'm gonna see it to get
it. It is electric. So it's teams of 7, and each the team will send one guy over, and you've got to try and tag as many people as you can without getting tackled. And these dudes get mauled, right? And it's terrific. It is terrific. It's on the Plus if you've got ESPN Plus. And the cool thing is it's on in the morning when nothing else is on because it's in India, and it's rad. Just click it on for 5 minutes and you'll thank me. It's rad.
I didn't think we would be advertising that sport on tonight's episode of the pod. What was it called again? Just so I know.
I've only seen it written, but I think it's either kabaddi or kabaddi.
Do you watch professional chess, Carlton?
Don't lie to me.
Sometimes they pop into my YouTube shorts, but no, I don't watch. I like
sports guy.
Yeah, well, sometimes you fall into it.
Not IG Reels.
I'll tell you this. I was not an IG Reels guy at all, but then due to FIU and their TikTok ban, I got to using IG Reels, and that's all I use now. So I don't blame Carlton. Maybe I go on YouTube Shorts one day and bang.
I will say the one sport that I always see on TikTok and IG Reels that always gets me hype, even though I don't watch it, is professional darts. Every now and then I'm going to see a darts clip that the hype in the room is insane.
They have their walk-up music.
Let me tell you something. Darts it's the best filmed sport out there.
You think so?
Absolutely, because they just need 2 camera angles. They have a still shot on the dartboard and a shot on the guy throwing the darts. And the moment it leaves his hand in a stadium full of people who have to be absolutely hammered, right? As soon as it leaves his hand, there's a half a second where nothing appears on the dartboard, but you know it's in the air. Yeah. And then triple 20s. And the place goes nuts. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's like a masterclass in suspense filmmaking.
Yeah.
I need to ask you about the FIU UTEP game because if you recall, FIU was down 16 in this game. At that point,
this is Vice night too.
We don't, dude. I'm talking about basketball.
Oh, the basketball game that just happened.
FIU, no offense, FIU football got spanked.
Call of the year so far.
I know Carlton did call that game.
I have called 100% of FIU football and basketball games against UTEP this year.
Yeah,
I need to ask you what was your call when you saw the UTEP players running to the Lambeau?
Running to what?
What UTEP? I'm talking about football now.
Oh,
what was your call when you saw them running to the Lambeau?
I don't remember my call. I just remember my feeling because if for those of you who don't know, it was Vice night, which was like this. Yeah, Jake rocking it. Like it was this massive promotion, months before they unveiled these uniforms with like Coach McIntyre in a Lambeau or whatever. It was super high. It went crazy viral. It was on every like college football top uniforms list, right? It was
on Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated. Rest in peace.
Yeah. I'm still alive, boys. I'm still alive. That's
still there. They had like an electric blue Lambo, like a pink, I don't know, rich person car.
They had a Rolls Royce as well.
And
they
Rolls
had a
Royce there. Yeah, the McLaren. So they had these really good cars. And I remember I sat there and I thought to myself, there's only two possible outcomes that I think will happen. One, somebody pulls a Marshawn Lynch and hops in it and drives it around. Or two, this is going to get really embarrassing. And yeah, there was the interception in the fourth quarter on Kewan Jenkins, and I saw him running over there, and I just thought, can't be mad at him because I totally called this. But like, of course you do that, right? Like, of course you go celebrate on the Lambeau. It was on their sideline anyway, right? It's not like they had to go into enemy territory and do it. They put one on the UTEP sideline for who knows why, and what do you do but tip your cap?
I think it made SportsCenter's top 10. I think, right?
Not to.
It made ESPN. I know it made headlines, but
yeah.
All right, now let's go to basketball. FIU down 16. We were both on the call for that.
Yeah.
At that point, although they were down by 16, we would both say like it felt a lot closer than it was, and evidently we were right because FIU made the comeback. But
I remember turning to you at one point. They'll only let us get a player on the radio after the game on a win, right? They don't, which makes sense. And I remember turning to you at one point and going, we're not going to get to interview anybody today. So I don't know if I was.
Well, you were out of it, but I was. And usually when I'm on probably in the midst of the moment, I was probably like, it's over. But, they come back and the final play of the game, you made probably one of the best calls I would say from what I've heard from you've ever made. And unfortunately, I got in the way of it by screaming in the background. But who cares at that point?
Hey, do you guys want to see it?
You have it?
You have it? 8 to go. He's got to make something happen. Dean strips it away to Lipscomb. He drives in. Sanogo flushes it home. Time expires. The Panthers win. The Panthers win. They come all the way back. 72-68. They end the game on an 11-0 run, and they win by 4. What a game!
Yeah, Kenny, get out of the way. What are you doing?
Dude, at that point, I was just like, man, this game's too good. But anyway,
it was. I mean, Kevin will know this, but before that, right? Like I said, they closed. Great call, me. They closed the game on an 11-0 run in like the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and the OBCC, the bank is just getting louder and louder and louder as this is happening. And at one point, I'm out of water, and I'm like, because you have to raise your you have to raise your intensity as the game picks up. They did not lead until that moment with 30 seconds to go. And Deshaun Gittins laid it in. It was 0-0, and then they tied it up, right, with a minute to go, and they took the lead with 30 seconds. So it was, it just got louder. I stole Kevin's water right out from under him. Because I was like, I needed to.
More than glad to give it to you.
Yeah.
So I was just like, take it out. But anyway,
I thought it was. I guess I didn't realize it in the moment. I was just so caught up. But and I'm not great at social media, so I don't know if it's doing well. But I know Mo Sonogo had reposted it. I saw it was getting a lot of love on your guys' channels and stuff. So that's always super cool, right? Like, it's not about me, but my job is to kind of bring what's happening to everybody else, and to see everybody respond the way they did was super cool.
Now, how'd you feel about my interruption in your call?
Yeah. To be honest, not the biggest sin you committed. If I can roast you for a second, if you back that up at about 45 seconds, Mohamed Sonogo gets a steal, right? It's a tie ball game. They get a steal. There's 45 seconds left, and Kevin yells over me, "This is for the win." And you can hear me laugh in the call, because I'm like, brother, there's 45 seconds left. We've got maybe 4 more possessions in this one. Like, this is not for the win at all.
Johnny, is there a way you can pull that clip? I really want to hear that.
That clip, that's like some in the vault. Unfortunately,
we'll send it to you later.
That's not a vault. I sent you guys the 8-minute cut. You could go find it.
Oh.
Start looking, Johnny. Well, Jake does his news break, but I do want to ask you, where would you rank that on all-time calls for you?
Oh, for me, that's got to be number 1, right? I never got the accompanying footage to it. And I should say, I listen to every call that I make. I go back, because I have to drive back to Broward County. I'll listen back, right, to my calls. And I think that was probably that's 1, if not, it's definitely up there.
Johnny, did you find it?
I never know what's a good call and what's a bad call. So I judge it if people like it, then it's good. So
this was real. That was really
good. So people have, like I said, the people that respond to this have been terrific. So if the people are responding to it, then I'm doing what I need to do.
To be fair, in my defense, if you think about it, there's a lot of other analysts that do get in the way of those type of calls.
Oh, yeah.
So have you heard the Charlotte Hornets TV broadcast?
Eric Collins.
Have you heard them?
No.
They're electric, man. They every little thing, it's both of them screaming, and they're like, "Yeah!" And I'm like, "Wow, dude, these guys love it." You got to listen. Just search it up. What's his name, Jake? The play-by-play guy.
I need to pull it up, but I don't know the name. But I can absolutely agree that they are. Like, you can find a compilation of some of their craziest
they have
clips.
compilations of these men on Twitter just screaming at any random thing that happens on the court. But anyways, I think that was the first half of the show. Oh no, you have one more, Johnny. Go for it.
Johnny, do you have something to
ask our audience? This is a fun one. Something that I know I kind of was able to coordinate with you, and then kind of took off. That's my man Keyshawn Frett, who's an outfielder for the FIU baseball team. Yeah, so originally he wanted to get on a podcast and do an interview with him, and I was able to get that set up. And all of a sudden, Keyshawn told you that he wanted to do this, and basically you forced him to call a game with you, and he wanted to do it. And what do you know? He was seen calling an FIU basketball game on a win, and a cool experience for him. Talk a little about that, and the calling game with a student athlete. Pretty cool.
Yeah, this poor guy. I should say my first interaction with Keyshawn was actually calling a home run he hit in the World Series. So, he cranked like a 3-run homer over the scoreboard in left center. And I don't even remember my call, but I remember Johnny and Kevin telling me like a few weeks later, they were like, hey, because there was, first of all, the kids were hitting bombs that day. I think there was 4 home runs.
It was Guida, Sammy Fisher, Brian West, Keyshawn Frett, Austin Deering. It was like 5-6 home runs.
Yeah, so there was a lot of good material out there. So,
and we filmed the whole thing too, which made it even better.
Yeah,
and we got the broadcast on all our stuff, the Twitter, YouTube. That was super cool.
Yeah. Haven't seen the check for that, by the way, but that we'll talk about that off air.
Okay.
I was like,
No,
"Man, what's going on?" I'm
I
like,
got
"Oh."
lost in the mail. I don't know what to tell you, Carl.
All right, Johnny, keep looking for that clip.
Well, so anyway, so Johnny was like, oh yeah, like he loved the call, and I was like, oh great, like I said, that's why I do it, right? So later, I've got to do an interview with someone, and I'm not picky, I was like, hey, any baseball player, and Mayor's like, I'm gonna get you Keyshawn, and I was like, great, like I remember him, maybe. So we're talking, and during our interview, it comes up, and he's like, that was you? Oh, that was awesome. He's like, oh, the play-by-play is so cool. He's like, that's what I want to do. I'm going to minor in communications because I want to play and I want to broadcast after I play. And I was like, oh, so we'll get you on everything baseball. We'll get you pregame, postgame, just joking with him. He's like, yeah. And he takes a pause and he goes, I could do basketball too. And I immediately was like, he doesn't know who he's talking to. I was like, what? What'd you say? He's like, I can do basketball. I know the game. I know all the players. And I go, look at me right now. Eyes here. I pointed at him through the Zoom. I said, do you want to do a basketball game with me? And he's like, sure. And I was like, great. I'm going to send you some dates, sign you up. Don't miss it. And so a week later, I sent him these dates in January, and he's like, okay, sure. I'll do the 11th. And he was fired up about it. So respect to him, man. It's tough to come out. I mean, especially to basically be pressured into it, but he was great. Great sport about it.
Well, how did he do? Like, do you have any constructive criticism you'd like to share right now?
I mean, it's his first game. I think he started out nervous, which is totally normal.
We all have, right?
Right. And he started to kind of put his foot on the gas a little more as the game got on, which I really liked. But I told him, and I tell everybody, it's reps, right? You don't get good. You're not good out of the box. You may think you're good out of the box, but it's reps. It's, as many times as you can get out there, as much as you can prepare, and as much as you can get out there is how good you're going to get. So he likes it. He wants to do it. I will go to his advisor and make them put him in AJ's class next semester. I think it's important for him. And I think for any of those guys that want to be broadcasters, you can't just, unless you have the natural charisma of David Ortiz, right? You can't just slip into it with no training, or Gronk, or, some of these guys that are just, charisma monsters who can just get on and say anything and America loves them, right? It takes work. It's hard.
Yeah. And not want to know, because my first game, fun enough, was with Jake and Johnny. What were your original thoughts on my?
Was that the one in Coral Gables, the baseball game in Coral Gables?
That was the walk-off, yes.
Damn it! Okay.
I can't talk about that, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
I'll talk about your broadcast. It was.
That's what I want to know. Yeah, I don't care.
It was good.
That's it. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say.
Man, Carlton was better at describing.
It was fantastic.
Jake,
that's all I can say. Fantastic.
what? How's my broadcasting?
I
think I hopped on with Jake first on the mic. So
no, I think it was me and Johnny for most of the game, but come the latter end, Kevin stepped in for Johnny, and
I just showed up, and Johnny's like, "You want to call the game?" And I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, you want to call it?" I'm like, "Okay." And I was like,
I mean, yeah, you were the color commentator, and obviously you had insight on the players. So whenever you brought up stuff about the players, yeah, it made a lot of sense what you were talking about. So you were definitely knowledgeable with what you were talking about, right? Obviously, slow paced, but as the game sort of progressed, and obviously FIU got in the lead, we were both super excited that we were potentially going to see some FIU history and them knocking off the Canes, but obviously it didn't go that way. But it still spearheaded some great convos and a lot of energy from us. So I'd like to say that we both did a good job that day. So
there you go.
And then I made Johnny record I was like, Johnny, you have to record the final out. This is history.
Oh no!
And lo and behold, it was the walk-off homer that I recorded. And the second you notice the ball leaving the air, you see Johnny's phone flip down so he doesn't catch the whole thing. I'm like, oh my god!
I think the second
shot,
I just
left field. It's out of here. Miami wins.
Yeah, that's because he had.
Because I mentally knew, by the way, what I was gonna say. if it was the third out. I knew mentally what I was going to say. Be like, history! FIU has beaten Miami in baseball for the first time in 4 years. And it didn't happen. It was wasted. It would have been Shakespearean the way that game ended had FIU won. And it
was Shakespearean because, mostly he wrote tragedies.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, moving on then. I don't want to talk anymore about that game because it still gets me upset, as I'm sure it does to you as well, Kevin. So
let's get into a news break.
Is it time for a news break?
Somehow 50 minutes in.
I think it's time for a news break then. It's the Paws Up Podcast news break. A quick look at all things FIU athletics and just FIU in general. So why the hell not? So let's start off with FIU women's basketball.
You see, Johnny?
Johnny, you better listen. It was recently announced that head coach Jessica Burks-Wiley was named the All D1 Coach of the Week by WHoopDirt.com. This is coming off FIU's 7th straight win as they took care of the Flames yesterday, winning their 7th straight game, again, which is the longest winning streak since the 2004-2005 season. FIU is currently 13-5. They're undefeated in conference play and is sitting in first place in the conference as well. So moving on to FIU athletics in general, they've announced that the Panthers have posted a cumulative fall semester GPA of 3.35, which is the 18th straight semester that they've posted a GPA of 3.0 or better. 14 different sports programs specifically posted above a 3.0, and 5 programs earned a 3.5. The team with the highest GPA was the women's volleyball team, which posted a 3.73. On top of that, 40 student athletes earned a perfect 4.0, and 29 student athletes earned their bachelor's this past semester. So congratulations to all of FIU athletics. FIU, this is just FIU news. They recently accepted a $10 million donation from the founder of Leon Medical Centers to fund the long-awaited Casa Cuba building on campus. Casa Cuba will be an academic and cultural center dedicated to all things Cuba at MMC on Southwest 107th Avenue and 16th Street. It should host events and exhibitions and will officially be called the Benjamin Leon Jr. Building. This has been a project in the works all the way back since in 2015. It will now likely cost around $40 million total, and it should open in 2027. That was initially all for Newsbreak, but I see someone, I'm assuming that's Kevin, is adding one more thing that I should bring up, and it is the fact that friend of the Paws Up podcast, a guest that we had on the show way back when, Grayson James. He spent 3 seasons with the FIU Panthers. He recently entered the transfer portal. He has now found his home. He's off to the ACC, joining the University of Boston College Eagles. He heads, like I said, to the Power 5 level, along with Chris Mitchell, Philip Houston, Jordan Corral. They've all made it to P5, and I had mentioned this in the on the Paws Up Twitter or X account, but if anyone from Boston College wants to see more about the type of person and the type of player that they are bringing to Boston College, Johnny and we got to speak with Grayson. I believe what was it? It was episode 18 back on April 25th.
I think you're right. You're fully right. I think you're right, so I'll say you're right.
What do you mean you think you're right?
I think you're right, so I'm going to assume you're right.
On what?
On the date.
He's reading it off the screen.
I just looked at it
off the pause.
Of course he's right.
But no, Johnny, as I'm sure you can also attest, though, Grayson James, super cool guy. Every time we saw him on the field pregame, he'd always dap us up, tell us, hey, how's it going? And he was a great guest on the show. No,
really, awesome dude. Nothing but the best for him, and good luck over. And is it Chestnut
Hill over in Boston, who just beat I believe SMU in the Pinstripe Bowl as well. So
no, the Fenway Bowl.
Oh, the Fenway Bowl. Excuse me. It was Miami and Rutgers. It was one of those iconic baseball stadiums in the Northeast. So close enough. Carlton, let's talk a bit about just FIU men's basketball, because of course that's the main thing you're covering now. You've seen as many FIU games as all of us. You've talked to the players. You've seen all the action, Joe. So just talk a bit about what you've seen from this team so far. They've had their ups, they've had their downs. They did, of course, had a very high quality win against UTEP that you were there for. Not to mention New Mexico State as well. That was a great game. Just what have you seen from the team?
Well, I think it's really kind of, it's a story of what's been happening lately, right? A really, really tough non-conference schedule, right? You've got the trip to the Caymans against a couple of great programs, and you got to play 3 games in 3 games down there. You've got 3 games in 3 days, I should say. Got on the road at Miami, on the road at FAU,
UCF.
You on the road at UCF,
yeah,
and Kennesaw State comes in, and if Miami, FAU, Kennesaw State all won their conferences last year, all 3 of them tournament teams, right? Tough. They managed to beat Kennesaw State, but the Miami game, they had a 12-point lead there in the second half. FAU has proven, listen, let's call it what it is. FAU is the best team in the state of Florida. They proved that they're legit. They're a top 10 team that's not going to go anywhere, especially come tournament time. They're great. So the record wasn't great, and you lose a heartbreaker at Utah Tech over the winter break.
Yeah,
despite some incredible shooting from Javante Hawkins, who I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. And then you go lose a tough one, on the road, Jacksonville State, to open up conference play. But coming back, I think the most impressive thing in the 2-game sweep they had here at home is they finally had the ability to close a game out. We mentioned Miami. They've lost on a couple of buzzer beaters this year. Florida Gulf Coast is another great example. They have not been able to close as well as they would like, whether that's surrendering a lead or whether that's crawling back, right? And both sides of that happened. New Mexico State, they had a big lead. They let them back in the game, and then they opened it up late to close it out. And it's the exact opposite against UTEP, right? Down a big hole, able to fight back, and then close it out in the final minute. So that's something I think that Coach Ballard and the players are going to look back on. And if that's a trend that keeps happening for them, then they're going to be a great team, solely because their style of play can really wear someone down. And if you can wear them down for 30 minutes and close them out over the last 10, you've got a shot against anybody in this conference.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing too, because you kind of said it, Carlton. It's either they have a lead or they blow it, or they're just not able to get back into it sometimes. And you look back at the Miami game, they had a 12-point lead. I mean, it's not like FIU's no slouch either. They're not a bad team by any means. It's just either they can't put it all together on one night, or as we know, they're the worst rebounding team in the conference. They give up the most shots in the conference. They give up the highest 3-point percentage in the conference. And you give that credit to maybe the press isn't what you want to run the whole time, but it makes teams a little, teams sometimes just aren't able to stop it. And we saw that with Liberty yesterday, very early on in the game. And we saw it with Miami at one point too. I mean, FIU just started also making their shots too in that game. You look at it, FIU's could be so much better than they are right now, and they've proven to be a lot better. They're kind of getting it back going. I mean, this Liberty game was very tough. Liberty would not miss a shot. Now it's
right. I mean, let's be honest. The record is not indicative of the talent on this roster. And I think there's been close games in there. Yeah, the Liberty game is tough, but they were nuclear from 3. I mean, you're not really going to do anything about that, right? I mean, I bring them up because they're so great, but FAU lost a game to Bryant this year. You want to know why? Because the shooting just didn't fall. They shot 28%, 26% from 3. You're not going to beat anybody when you shoot that poorly. And the other game they lost was to Illinois, and Illinois had 2 guys go for like 35. So if it's just the way it is. And it's a testament to the parity in Conference USA right now, where Liberty and Middle Tennessee State were far and away the preseason picks to run away with the conference. And even though Liberty beat FIU last night, they're both in the cellar of this conference 4 games in. Everybody thought this was Liberty's conference and they've run away with it. UTEP struggling early in conference. FIU, now 2-2 in conference.
Middle Tennessee as well. They were, I think, projected to win the conference.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee and Liberty was kind of the consensus, and Liberty and Middle Tennessee are in the cellar right now. UTEP was projected to have a big year. They're struggling early on in conference play. Jacksonville State looks great. Western Kentucky looks great, and it's a testament to the parity here in conference. Yes, yeah, definitely.
They're 3-0. I think La Tech also. Amazing start for them. They beat Liberty. They actually beat Liberty in overtime. So
yeah,
this is no joke of a conference. When you look at it, obviously UTEP has bounced back. They're a very good team. I know FIU beat them, but man, it was when you look at the odds for these last couple of games FIU's played in, pretty damn close odds. I mean that, and we were looking at it. That line did not change until maybe 10 minutes before tip off. That FIU ended up being favored there by like 2 points. So
yeah,
man, FIU was.
Has that same problem where they're struggling to close.
Exactly. They blew a 16-point lead.
Yeah, there's a great program in El Paso, Minor Talk on 600 AM, the ESPN station over there. Listen.
I was listening back to the game when we beat them, and they were going off about the UTEP, the strategies, and down the line like. Crazy.
Sal Broadus and those guys. Shout out to JJ Minor fan, all the guys that call it over there. I'm serious. I mean, they're
dedicated.
They're great. Yeah, and listen, if they're listening, I listen. All right. Whenever we're going to play UTEP, I go listen because you're not going to get better insight than those guys. But UTEP's a team that struggled to close. And it's really the margins are a lot closer in this conference than people thought they were going to be. So. The conference record, I really think this is going to be a conference that surprises people. And FIU's goal now is to get into this conference tournament. And if you get into this conference tournament, everybody has shown that they can beat everybody. Yeah. Whoever comes out. And I think it's going to be one of those instances where probably because the record of whoever wins the conference isn't going to look great. It might be in a play-in game. But this could be a conference that gets a play-in team that surprises people because they're going to do is dogfight each other for the next couple of months before March.
Yeah. Now let's talk about one of the best players on this team. Not only just the best player on this team right now, but one of the best players in Conference USA. And right now, he's one of the best three-point shooters in the nation. And Javante Hawkins, I believe he ranks in the top 20 in three-point percentage in the nation. He has the highest three-point percentage. Correct me if I'm wrong, John, in Conference USA. Right now, he is in the top 10 in scoring for CUSA along with Arturo Dean. But, I was going to ask you who was your favorite player to call, but right now this has to be the guy to call right now when it comes to Javante Hawkins, what he's done. He dropped 24 against Liberty, 20 against, I believe, UTEP. Yep. He had a big game against New Mexico State as well. I mean, this guy went from averaging 5 points a game year after year after year, and now he is maybe the best player on this FIU team right now.
Well, I think it's one of the cool things about calling college sports is guys can grow in a major way. And you see guys take leaps in the NBA, but that's to be expected as they grow into professionals. But the leap that Javante's taken this year, whether it's in role, in leadership, or in raw production, has been remarkable. I mean, he gets into this mode, and what's crazy is he might be the best three-point shooter in Conference USA. I don't know if he's the best three-point shooter on this team, because this team is full of guys who can absolutely rain from three. Whether it's Lipscomb, Paytar's having a rough year so far, but listen, that's going to get on track. It's statistically impossible that it won't. This is Javante. His ability to create his own shot too, right? He's great at catch and shoot. He loves the corner, but against Liberty, you saw him hit a couple step backs, create his own threes. And then, it was his, the Utah Tech, that performance, he single-handedly, once Dean fouled out, willed that team into overtime and brought him close. And it's been tremendous to watch him grow as a player and as a leader.
If there's one thing that stood out too about that Liberty game is the amount of how good Liberty's defense was from beyond the arc. And that's one thing that UTEP also was known for. And, going back to that game as well. But, man, Javante Hawkins just found a way to just move around. And and find those quick open shots. He's one of the quicker shooters on this team. And that's also the case with Jaden Lipscomb, who absolutely he struggled against Liberty. There's just no other way to say it. He cannot get a shot off. Arturo Dean as well. I know he ended with double digits, but those guys would not let FIU get a shot off. And for how quick FIU is, and we know this all, FIU has to be one of the fastest teams in the conference in terms of how quick they run their offense, how active they are on defense. I think right now they force the most turnovers in CUSA, if not they're second or third in that category. So certainly FIU has shown it, but we'll see what happens. I mean, FIU is off to a good starting conference play. They're still 2-2. They're at 500. You still have a chance to now go, I believe, are facing Western Kentucky, which is right now the top dog in the conference. So it's either them or Sam Houston, and it's not going to get easier from there. You have Western, and then you have Sam Houston.
And in reality, it's going to be the team that runs off a series of road wins that's going to run away with Conference USA. UTEP struggled on the road, New Mexico State struggled on the road, FIU, Liberty, you name it, they've struggled on the road in Conference USA. And it's the team that runs off a couple of road wins that's gonna get it done.
Yeah.
Joey.
Again. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just enriched on the anal.
Clearly, you've been hard at work finding that.
Trying to find that video.
I can't find it. I mean, I'm trying to find a way to add it in here, but we'll figure it out. Okay, we talked basketball. Let's move on to baseball. That's the big one. We're under a month away from baseball starting at FIU Baseball Stadium.
Yes.
February 16th, Long Island University, 7:00 p.m. first pitch. ESPN Plus. Also, you can listen in on FIU 3930 Sports Radio Network, which I assume that will happen.
Look at that. He still remembers the plug.
I don't know. I love the plugs.
Call and Kevin on the call.
Here's the thing. We're all excited for opening day. A lot of optimism with this team. Obviously, last year, 21-win season, but the most wins for the program in a good amount, a couple of years. But I think a lot of excitement for this team. Carlton, what are you excited for? Obviously, a lot of things, you could talk about. I think one big sign is the offense. Our boy, Keyshawn Frett, is part of that. Our boy, Ryan Guida, who was on the podcast earlier, is going to do some good things. But what excites you the most about this FIU baseball team in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just it's the excitement of not knowing, right? And I know you know this number off the top of your head, Jonathan. How many new players are there?
Too many to count.
Oh,
wait. There are about. Hold up.
He doesn't have a specific
number.
You know what? Let's do what every fan should do. They should go check out the Paws Up preview.
Yeah.
Yes.
The number.
Here you go.
Okay, we're at 20. Okay, there's around over 25 new players.
Players added. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12.
Everybody,
what? Dang, you put me on the spot, and I couldn't.
25.
25. There you go.
Oh,
and what? 17 returning players.
Oh, here we go.
14 or 15.
This is the part of the show where we make Jake count.
17.
Oh, crush that. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, it's more.
Carlton's already digging deep into baseball. I know it. I know you are.
Listen. Yeah, it's that's the biggest question mark, right? Is 25 new players, 17 returning players, and this is something I talked to Keyshawn about. Like, what does that do? What's the culture like? Like, normally I asked him. I said, normally, the new players get to a team. There's a little bit of, hazing or go pick up my laundry or that stuff. But I was like, but you outnumber the old guys. Like, are you guys all, putting it in reverse on them? But he just said it's been super. They've been super welcoming, right? They've just folded them in and showed them the way things work around here. And the cool thing I'm hearing from the guys is that everybody's just picked it up, right? It's just they've gone at full tilt. New player, returning player, and they've just decided to just go full tilt. And we got a sneak peek of what some of the new offensive pieces look like during the Blue and Gold World Series. And wow, this was a team that had some pop in the lineup. Obviously, Alex Sanchez, who had a fantastic senior season. Guida always has some pop in the bat, but was really, looking for another big power threat behind that. And it looks like there's a couple guys that are going to be playing every day here who can just flick their wrists and hit one over the fence. It's a new level of power, and the pitching looks great. You're getting some new arms back, right? Owen Puck, who missed all of last season, recovering from TJ.
AJ Puck's brother, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard that from you before.
Oh my god.
That's how he always introduced him to me. He's like, Owen Puck, AJ Puck's brother.
That's how Johnny's. If Johnny calls a game with you this year, he's gonna be like, so Owen Puck, AJ Puck's brother's on the mound.
Yeah, listen, and the thing is, Owen is about to show everybody that he is his own man. I mean, from the early reports that I know, Kevin, you did out of his now that he's back throwing live, is he's tearing it up. Good depth pitch. He's pumping up to like 96, 97. He's going to be a problem. And, really it was a lack of situational hitting last year and back end pitching problems for this team. So they've loaded up on that and they've completely recharged the offense. So I just want to see what it looks like more than anything.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's a good point. So we're all getting excited for, again, first pitch. I had the planner right in front of me. By the way, I can't wait to look back and see Kevin's projected starting infield, outfield, and pitchers and see what he got right and what he got wrong. That's going to be a fun preview.
Telling you right now, I'm telling you, I may have spent like 2 weeks on this one article. I dug so deep into this team. I went to so many people. I went to Johnny, and I asked him so much stuff. I asked him for all these returners, about this guy, that guy, any records I need to keep in mind. I never give myself a pat on the back for an article, but holy crap, do I give one to myself for that one. I think it amounted over 500 views.
Oh, Johnny.
Johnny clap.
No, I'm proud of Kevin with the work he did. It did really well from what the players told me. They loved it. And getting coverage out there is important, but he did a deep dive on this team, which is great for you guys as well and for me. So props to Kevin for the great.
I mean, like Kevin said, I'm using it as a reference. Plus, it's like I get the study guide and the professor to help me take the test once first pitch goes on. So I'm going to be excited to go on games with you.
But I will. Yeah, dude, I'm pumped. I'm telling you right now, I am so pumped. The broadcasts are going to be electric. This team is going to be so fun to watch because they're going to hit more. They're going to score like 10 runs a game. But anyways, I do want to follow your sentiment and say this team brought in power.
Yeah.
You didn't. I don't know if you mentioned Jeff LaCorey, but he's bringing in power.
Yeah.
Austin Deering, who, in my opinion, was the MVP of that Blue and Gold World Series. And many are telling me maybe he could be the starting center fielder for this team come opening day. So that's a name to keep an eye out on. But you look at the bench, and that's the one thing FIU didn't have much of last season was depth, and they have it this season.
Yep.
FIU arguably may have the best outfield in all of Conference USA. You have LaCorey in left, Deering / Becerra in center, and then you have LaCorey in right. I mean, this is a fun team. You bring in Brylan West, who, guys, he may be playing more first base than Figgy this season. This guy is described as the second most polished hitter on this team. He's a JUCO guy. He has a lot of power. He's a pretty quick guy for the most part at playing first base. This is the ideal guy, and Guido's going to play some first base during the midweeks. So that gives opportunity for more guys to get into that DH role and get some reps. Man, I am so excited for this team. You have a lot of options at starting pitching. You have Jackson Ritchie, Ryan Kabarkis. Those guys could be your Friday guys. Once you have Owen Puck, who from what I'm told, he's going to be going on a 20, 25, 30, 40 type basis in terms of his rehab, in terms of pitch limit. He then in the second half should be all good to go. He's hitting 96, and this is consistently. It's not I hit one time. No. He hit this consistently. Hit it in the bullpen before the live. He hit it during the live. He's done it consistently. 95, 96, close to 97. He could possibly be a Friday starter for this FIU team. That's the ceiling I'm getting the vibes of right now from someone like Puck, AJ Puck's brother for by the way, Carlton. But and then the bullpen's really good. I mean, Orlando Hernandez, man.
Yeah.
You got to think about it.
He has great stuff. We talked about that watching there's Kabarkis, you mentioned Kabarkis. That's another guy. I mean, his breaking stuff it's one of those, like, he's going to throw it in a 2-strike count and it doesn't matter. You're going to swing at it, even if it's in the dirt. We talked about it a ton last year, Jay Mayer. Like he can generate swings and misses like you wouldn't believe. And Hernandez's stuff is terrific too. They had a bunch of hard throws coming out of there too. There's a great mix in the bullpen from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, how do I even say it? I think Orlando could be the closer. He's shown closer stuff. Logan Rundy is another name I'm very excited to watch.
Yes.
I know you were very impressed by him, Jake. So funny enough, I was talking to him, maybe during that Hurricanes game when we went over there. He's like, yeah, no, I wasn't. I think we were pretty, it made it seem like that changeup. It was actually a slider. So he's a slider changeup fastball guy. And man, I mean, if we thought that was a changeup, he's definitely confusing us. So, and he's definitely confusing hitters out there. Gets a good amount of swing and miss. So he's definitely a name I'm looking at to watch. Aside from that, I can't think right now. Jaden Bishop gave me a pretty good impression. He's a JUCO guy, I believe, Johnny, if I'm correct. Yeah, I mean, Chase Engelhard, that's another guy who I'm very excited to watch. He was an All-American in his freshman year, so
well, I think,
then, so he should be starting at third. That's definitely the hot corner is definitely one that's still in doubt. I said Engelhard just from what I've seen and where I've seen him play. He's pretty good defensively, so yeah.
Well, and I think they'll like you said, they're so deep that they may take some time in the non-conference to just move things around. Based on seeing how guys perform, if there's lefty-righty splits they take into account. They, like you said, it's never a bad thing to have too much depth. But I think the pitching staff, there's new coaching in for the pitching staff. I think one of the things that really harmed them last year was just the lack of control. Right, they just walk a couple guys. It seemed like they could fill up the base pass without throwing a strike. And it was something that was really demoralizing, both for the pitching staff and for the hitters to watch guys. When the other team's got guys on the base pass, it's tough to come back from for your whole team. So if they can limit that stuff this year, they're going to be terrific.
Yeah, and then I forgot to mention Tristan Dietrich. I mean, this dude was an 18th round pick by the Marlins, and he got a lot of money. I'm not going to say the amount, but he got a lot, and he would have been a pretty rich guy if he would have signed with Miami. But, obviously you look at what coach said, Witten, that he got a substantial amount, and it was close to I'm not even going to say the amount because I can't give you an exact number, but I can give you kind of the estimate. I'll tell you later, Carlton. But anyways, I mean.
And that's not draft money. That's NIL money.
No. Draft. What the Marlins offered him to come. He decided to stay at FIU, but man, he is going to be most likely a midweek starter, so he's going to go right into it. I mean, he's going to take on the universities of Miami. I mean, that's the type of teams he's going to take on. He's taking on UM. Do they play Wichita during midweek, Johnny?
They play Wofford.
Wofford, that's one thing.
No, that's their non-con. They have two interesting non-con.
But that's what I'm saying. You're playing a midweek. That's where Dietrich is going to pitch against non-con teams. I mean, he'll face FAU most likely. So that's what you're looking at for some of these guys. And usually, and I think Guida said this. I don't know if he said it. He may have said it during the podcast that usually it's kind of like the unwritten rule to not put out your best guys, but even if Dietrich isn't your best guy, he's still one of your best guys. I mean, this is a freshman guy who hit 94 during the draft combine, and he is one of the better players on this FIU pitching staff, and he has 4 years to show the growth. And if he was already selected in the major leagues that quick, think about it. And then another name I want to throw out there, Alex Ulloa. He was a 4th round pick, I want to say, Johnny, by the Astros. Stuff happened. He didn't end up signing, but man, this guy could pick it at shortstop. Very good shortstop.
Yeah.
See what he could do. And I know you saw it. He made some nice plays during the blue and gold.
Yeah. And it's funny to me because he was the most impressive defensive shortstop I've seen at FIU since Royland Quevedo. So they've got so much talent up the middle with the glove up there. It's going to be
Roy's at second. I mean, look what that tells you.
And they're up the middle. We're going to see some incredible work up the middle.
Yeah. By the way, Kevin's mega preview of the roster, 423 views as it stands. And as we get closer to the baseball season, I think that's only going to go up because so many people want to know, okay, what does this FIU baseball team actually look like after the dust settles as we get to February the 16th when they take
Jake,
on the
please ask the next question.
Yeah, we sort of This essentially turned into a Paws Up preview for baseball for a second there, but
Cheers, man. We gotta talk.
No, that's what I was saying. Look. This episode has taken so many turns that it's insane. It's become a movie.
We want to find about an Indian
sport.
sport.
Thank you for sticking around because it's been fun. It's been fun. Now let's stay on the topic of that first game in the baseball season on the mic, because as we had mentioned earlier, it looks like your broadcasting crew for the most of the baseball season is going to be Carlton Gillespie, play-by-play with Kevin Burrell as the color commentator. So, Carlton, obviously you worked with Kevin for the Blue and Gold World Series. I just want to know, talk about the connection that you think you and him are going to have. Just what can we expect from that chemistry between yourself and Kevin Burrell? Well, what can you tell? What are the fans in store?
What is the light, Kevin?
Damn it! I was doing it like I was recording you. You know, like you better stop.
Oh, okay, all right.
You didn't get the joke. It's fine.
Oh, listen, hey, what an insight into our chemistry, right, Jake? No, we'll be better than that for sure. But
It won't be what we had for sure.
yeah, listen, it's tough. You're asking me to it's like you're asking me to talk about my new girlfriend in front of my ex, Jake.
Jeez,
I'll never forget the moments that me and Jonathan Mayer shared.
I mean, we're talking about why bowling, why three games of bowling is a mile. I mean,
we're going to talk about the Indian sport though.
I'd love to talk about kabaddi, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
It's a place and time for it, though. You know, place and time. You know,
hey, they'll have their moments.
I'll have you guys on my KBD podcast. It'll be great. No, so I think baseball season is going to be. I mean, for all the reasons that we've mentioned, right? We're excited about all the new players, and as far as what we're going to talk about, it'll be mostly baseball, but. Kevin and I know each other so well. I'm sure we'll get into all sorts of random stuff. I know with Jonathan, we got into my past athletic career, the pseudo sport of bowling,
birds,
facts about birds. That's one of my favorite things. I love talking
about birds.
Yeah, definitely.
Just like random birds you see flying in the air. You're like, oh man, look at that bird. We got to talk about that bird.
You don't know this about me. Jonathan knows this about me. I love birds. I'll talk about all types of birds. If you've got bird questions in the chat, if you got bird questions, send them your way. I will answer them live on this podcast.
We need Twitter handle up there. What's your Twitter handle?
Yeah, guys, we got to get Carlton some followers.
My Twitter, I've just re-entered the Twitter space. I might leave again. I'm not.
Oh no!
You just got back.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm writing. I finished my draft, and my editor is going to take a chainsaw to it probably, but I wrote a profile piece on Peter Pratt, who hosts the Locked On Marlins podcast, and I genuinely just only got a Twitter so that I could send him a DM so I could get his email so that we could set the call up. Oh, look at this.
Carlton, we need to get you.
I'm very happy you specified that, Kevin. X, formerly Twitter.
That's helpful.
Because I'm taking this digital media class, and I'm like, maybe they do know what X is because it's digital media, but I always use it to specify because I still consider it Twitter.
Yeah, that's Twitter to me.
Yeah. I retweeted this person. I tweeted this. Yeah. But look, Carlton, you're already at 8 followers. You already have.
I'm back.
You have the Paws Up podcast following. You have Peter Pratt following you.
So
most importantly, you have Jonathan Mayer.
So I can send him one message. Yes.
Exactly, but he's still following you. That's what's important. And then you have some random UM podcast following you.
Really?
And you have the FIU Fanatic account, which they actually follow you. So you have some pretty good followers, man.
I did not know about 6 of those 8.
You could get Carlton to 100 followers.
Probably not by the end of the night. I mean,
not by the end of the night, but before opening day.
That's when it matters.
You're gonna have to hurry because I might just delete it again
Carlton. Don't delete.
It's not all doom and gloom on Twitter right now. I don't know. It's a fun app.
But you got to get following the accounts, man. You got to follow FIU Athletics. Come on.
I don't.
It helps you on Twitter too when you put. We're here with you. Tag yourself on the 3932 Twitter. Come on.
Yeah. Again, it's never really been my bag. I've never been great at any social media. If you want to listen to my thoughts, tune in to 3932 Sports. You'll learn.
Good plug.
Yeah, you'll learn a lot more about me when Kevin and I are talking about a blowout game in the 6th inning than you ever will from 200 characters.
Yeah. Hopefully that'll be when FIU is blowing out Miami in one of those midweeks. That's what we all want to see. So,
but no, I mean, I think the calls with Kevin are going to be terrific. Yeah, Kevin has frequently reminded me that we are going to cook, and he couldn't be more right. I mean, it's going to be great. And I think the interest in the baseball team has been ratcheted up a little bit in the off season. And I think come opening day, they're going to start once they start putting together results, I think it'll really start to catch on. And I'm super excited. And there are going to be times where we're the only broadcast. So if you want to hear what's going on at the game, you've got to tune into us. And we're really excited to share that with people.
And I'll put something in here so you guys can know. I'll be trying to coordinate, on wins, post-game interviews. So I'll try to get some of the players to not only come up to the booth and sit with you guys and talk. That's on my goal for you guys this season. So
the SID, attaboy.
The SID is doing SID things. Let's go.
They come up to the little radio booth, chop it up after wins. That's my goal for you guys.
I love it.
Directing right now. Look at that. I love it.
Making moves.
Johnny already making moves. What day is it today? January 19th.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, Johnny. Good job, Johnny.
No, I mean, and to be perfectly honest, like, we joke around about it, but like this is going to be, with Johnny helping us out, with me and Kevin on all these games, it's going to be the most manpower that Student Radio's ever had at these events, right? Like,
not to mention some spicy graphics on our end, right?
Yeah.
And we got positive coverage.
Hopefully we'll be able to do more streams where people can tune into you guys and hear our call over the video. I mean, I think it's just like this baseball season is from a I guess the unofficial production side, it's going to be the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
And that's super cool.
Exactly. And it's not that, especially if the team performs early on. You have LIU, and I think right after that, I think it's Notre Dame. Yeah. I mean, can't get better than that. And obviously Carlton will have his solo calls as well. So if you want to hear Carlton talk about, what do you talk about on a solo call?
It's a solo call,
you never know, right? Like you never know what's going to strike you.
Fair enough.
I know a lot of people try and plan stuff out, but I've always been more of an extemporaneous kind of guy anyway. A lot of people like they kind of get up in the air and they struggle, and I just get up on the air and keep talking, whatever comes out. I mean, people, like I said, people seem to be resonating with it, which is the most important part. So it's working, whatever it is.
I don't know if you knew this, but that first series of the year against LIU, there's a doubleheader. So
yeah,
we got to prep those throats.
We'll have to see, because I think we'll have to work it out, because I think basketball is also on that day of the doubleheader.
Well, it's women's basketball actually that weekend.
Yeah, so
you can think about, maybe you want to call.
Listen, I'm not. I should have said this earlier. I'm not the only voice on Student Radio.
He is not. There are some very talented people.
Kenneth Bueno is absolutely a superstar. There he is. There's Kenneth Bueno. He's in the chat.
Bueno. He's very bueno at the radio.
Yeah, he's super good.
He's very bueno.
He's going to be terrific. There's Sebastian Cuervo has come and done some work for us. I know Jaime Nunez wants to get back and do it. I mean, these guys are, it's a bunch of people that are, dedicated and the coverage that you're going to get on the student side is just going to be full of passion and full of talent. I mean, I'm excited to see the things that these folks do. Eventually, when my carcass is old and rotted, it will fertilize the ground for some of these new guys. And Kevin, I don't know if you'll ever have someone like me with you, Kevin, but through the years, you're just going to get a series of the pipeline of sports broadcasting talent at FIU is crazy, to be honest with you. The production talent, the on-air talent, it's getting you from all angles. So just be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. How many years do you have left, Carlton? 2? This one and next year?
No, it'll be this, and then over the summer, I'll be occupied with an internship, and then in fall, I think I've just got one class, so we'll see.
No baseball. So this is your
Which
last
fall's
baseball.
going to be the last dance for
This
Carlton
is-
Gillespie?
This is the last baseball dance, yeah.
No, it's gonna be the best one though, for sure.
Regionals, baby. We'll go into regionals.
Carlton, are you going to make the trips to FAU and the University of Coral Gables and whatnot for those road contests?
Yeah, FAU, I definitely will. Gables, it remains to be seen. The further south it goes, the harder it gets for me to navigate traffic down there.
Also, we have class one day for that Miami series. I don't know if I should skip class. I don't know,
You're skipping class, but don't say the class, but you're skipping class.
I mean, we have the same class together, actually.
Oh,
Is that right?
I don't know what to do.
Well, I'll just tell her that I have to take you to the hospital. We'll come up with something.
Yeah.
you guys are doing the Miami games. But anyways, all right, let's start wrapping this bad boy up.
Let's attempt to wrap this up by getting to some fun rapid fire
There we
questions.
go.
Start to close out the show. Kevin, I think you got the first one.
Oh, all right. Well, this is gonna be pretty. We've spoken about this anyways. But favorite sport to watch and not call. I mean, like
Watch and not call. I don't know.
how would you like the tagging game?
Yeah, I was about to say, I guess it's well, yeah, cricket. I don't call cricket. I love watching cricket, but yeah, no, I mean, well, I don't do, I would love to do dog agility, but let's go with dog agility.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay. All right. So you've been to the FIU baseball stadium, the Ocean Bank Convocation Center, and of course the FIU football stadium. Which out of those buildings do you think
He was
is the
at the Watsco Center.
Oh,
he was
and
at,
the
he was at
Watts, and the
FA He was at the.
Well, I want this to be an FIU oriented question.
No.
Which stadium or arena
on
on
campus,
campus
all right,
do you
fair
think is the
enough.
best for calling games?
Well, Kevin, it doesn't matter if you had all the other ones in because it's an FIU answer. The answer doesn't change. It's the FIU baseball stadium. The pre-twilight, the 6 o'clock first pitch, 7 o'clock first pitch. I said it earlier, but when the sun's setting over there, it gets off. Yeah, it's a big cross breeze is always coming through. The glass FIU buildings has the sun reflecting over them. You got planes just kind of dropping in and out of MIA over there. It's idyllic.
And the rec center too. The rec center lights up when it gets to nighttime too, right?
Yeah.
It lights up a bunch. So it is a pretty view.
It's a
Oh yeah, I mean, it's lights out.
Lights out! Lights out!
I saw Carlton roll his eyes on the screen, and I was like,
I can't believe you did that to me.
Jesus.
It's been an hour. It's been like an hour and a half.
Damn, Kevin.
Brutal.
I will say, Kevin, that was I was not ready for that.
I needed to do it once.
Yeah, I mean the placement of that clip, it was lights out, man. It was
all right. All right.
Carlton may drop me after.
We're getting off the
that.
rails again. We just got to keep going here. Johnny, you're up.
Okay, I got a good question in store for you. Well, we talk about, athletes and their rituals. For a broadcaster, what is your pregame routine or tradition to kind of get set into the broadcast atmosphere and set the scene for you? What's the pregame tradition for you?
I keep it super simple. I do all my prep well beforehand. I like the game notes. I like to read the official game notes, but all my work happens well before I get to the stadium. So once I'm there, I'm like saying to everybody, it's normally when I get my good little last minute tidbits, right? Like you'll run up to me or Kevin run up to me like, hey, so-and-so's not playing, or oh, hey, new starter at third, or hey, this guy's changing his walk-up song because he's been in a slump or whatever. It's like, great. Well, it's going to the show. So that's what I mean. I just like to I like to immediately try and get as absorbed in the in the moment as in the stadium as I can.
Pre-game pizza.
I have not asked this question in a very long time on the show, but I don't know. I felt like I wanted to ask it to you, but take a spin on it. when it comes to the FIU Mount Rushmore, and I wanted it specifically to be players that you have seen and you have called in your time here at FIU, who would you put on your FIU athletics Mount Rushmore?
Man, just my time here.
Yeah, your time here. So players you've had the privilege of seeing in person, saying their names, seeing what they do.
Arturo Dean.
That's a great
the first one on my Mount Rushmore. He's he fills up the stat sheet like you wouldn't believe, right? Rebounds and steals, but he also forces steals for other people. Like if there was a hockey assist version of steals, Arturo Dean would also lead the country in that stat. So, and he's just like, he like never slows down. He's 100 miles an hour, both ends of the court, for as long as he's out there. So definitely Arturo's on there. I gotta think, Chris Mitchell, right? Calling Chris Mitchell this year was terrific. He's unbelievable. Best of luck to him at Notre Dame. Like they've really got a good one, and a super humble guy, a super hard worker too. Let's see. I guess I got to do a baseball one, right? It'd have to be
Keyshawn Fred,
No, I mean, honestly, if I wrap it up with two baseball guys, let's go with Alex Sanchez and Ryan Guida, right? Guida last year is like the most consistent offensive threat they had, and Alex Sanchez in the second half last year had this incredible power surge that kind of propelled him up to be one of the best hitters in Conference USA. So those would be my four of who I've called.
Now I have one question. I know I deleted the last one, but I'll give this one to you. Favorite hangout spot on campus and favorite food spot on campus.
Favorite food spot on campus.
I know you do classes at Biscayne. I'm not saying the actual abbreviation of that. So you can include that as well.
Yeah. I'm all over both of them. So let's see. My favorite hangout spot on campus. It's the newsroom on Biscayne, where the magic all happens. I just sit up in there, and there's so many people that I know that'll either come through and distract me or know to leave me well enough alone. But something about that place, it's got private soundproof rooms where I can go in and work if I need to, or sit out at a table and socialize with what's whoever's out there. So probably in there. And then I'd say favorite food spot. I like Panda Express because it makes me feel good that I can get steamed veggies instead of like lo mein or something. So that always helps me feel like I'm being healthy, right? The grilled chicken and the lo mein. But man, there's a ton of good food on campus. I don't remember the name of that place we went, Jonathan, at the beginning of last semester with the bowls. What's that called?
Oh, I was there with you guys.
Yeah, you were there, right?
I remember. I mean, it was okay. I don't know. You liked it?
I liked it. So.
Is that the place off campus? And
not a campus store. I think that's
that's where Chick-fil-A is.
Yeah, it's in the big.
It's like
it's at PG5.
Yes,
yeah, it's like Chipotle, but like
healthier.
It's something
fresh kitchen, like a fresh kitchen.
Yeah, it's like something. It's got something in it. Something.
Yeah. It was Moe's, but now it's something else.
Okay, I did not even know that.
Alrighty, then. Just for the funsies, because I want to see who Carlton says. So we've had Guida on, we've had Sanchez, we've had Grayson James, who's, no offense, probably not going to come on this podcast unless he comes back. We've had a lot of athletes. Who do you think we should have on the podcast? Athlete.
Oh man,
FIU athlete. I'm not bringing on a tag team star on here.
You know who I because I wish I had the chance to interview him, but after the game I did with Keyshawn, New Mexico State, we got a chance to interview Jaden Lipscomb, and I gave the interview to Keyshawn because they know each other well, and it's a cool perspective, right, to get an athlete to interview another athlete.
That was dope.
Yeah, the interview was terrific, and Jaden's great. I really liked his energy. I thought they were great on air together. So I'll give a shout out to Jaden rather than go a little bit off the beaten path. I think he's fantastic.
We could get Jaden Lipscomb, and we'll have you on for that too.
Oh,
I think we also got to get Keyshawn on. Let's keep it real, man. It sounds like he has some great stories for us as well.
Oh,
we can inadvertently go back and talk about how we thought Carlton did on that fateful day where they called that game.
Dude, that felt like a World Series. I did everything in my power to be at that game that day because I was like, I need to be there.
That was your birthday.
I was there, exactly. I made sure I pre-celebrated my birthday. I was like, all right, so we're doing this before.
I thought you celebrated it after. Oh, I didn't know.
No. I celebrated that bad boy before. We had some very good pizza, and we sang a nice happy birthday, and then I went to the game that day. And I was like, I got to watch history.
Yeah.
You must be the first student athlete to call a game too, right?
Yeah, and when you guys get Keyshawn on, just let me know, and I'll send you our full interview because there's so much stuff in there. I mean, he's a character. He's been all over, playing at JUCO and everything. He's got a lot of really funny stories that you guys that he should tell on this podcast.
Yeah. All right, Jake.
Who do you think is the? By the way, before we get to the one of my favorite segments of the show. Who would you say is, in your opinion, the greatest broadcaster of all time? Aside from yourself, Carlton,
I wasn't going to put myself on the list.
Okay, just making.
I may be confident, but I'm not delusional.
Yeah, Johnny,
the greatest of all time.
I'm joking,
man. I don't know. It's weird because I feel it's kind of like. I listen to a lot of different kinds of music, so I'd have the same response if you asked me to ask who like my favorite band is. I'd be like, depends on what day of the week it is, depends on
the day,
the mood I'm in, and I don't know. I mean, there's guys that I mean, you go back to like legends like Howard Cosell, who called everything like this, obviously as a boxing fan, right? There's like I mentioned Tessitore, Jim Lampley. There's been a couple of great guys. It depends on the sport in that space. Peter Drury, Jonathan, you mentioned him earlier. He's one of the best soccer commentators to ever do it. So it depends on the sport, right? There's a bunch of guys, and it's only guys whose names that we would know because we're diehards. But the best ones are the ones that the regular fans don't even notice. It's like umpires. If you're doing a good job, they shouldn't notice you.
What about Tony Romo? I'm joking.
I will say, Doc Emmerich for NHL, he was great. He was super great.
Goldie is terrific. The Panthers have one of the best.
Goldstein, he's a legend. He's a legend.
Terrific.
What's his name that does college? Gus Johnson for college football is super underrated.
Gus Johnson.
I would say my personal favorite is Kevin Harlan when he's calling a Dolphins game. Oh, he's got him! He's got him!
Of course. It's like an instant dopamine rush for Dolphins fans.
Yes.
I like Corey Brooks.
It got zipped out of us, unfortunately.
I know and I'll give him a shout out because he's at FIU. Corey Brooks is really good.
Oh, Corey's phenomenal.
Corey's great. AJ's great. Yeah, FIU's got great broadcasters.
Yeah.
All right, Carl.
You're one of them too.
The guy who did color yesterday is actually the Florida Panthers beat writer for the women's game.
Oh yeah,
George Richards did the colors.
Is that right?
Yeah, he was doing he was analyzing the game. He was phenomenal, by the way. He was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was good.
And I know another reporter is going to be doing some baseball on ESPN Plus. A pretty prominent sports writer in the area.
Who?
Manny Navarro. Hint, hint. You know Manny Navarro?
Do you, Carlton?
I don't.
Are you sure?
I mean, I'm probably he's he's one of the 8 people I follow on Twitter, but
no, he's not.
You don't know Manny Navarro? Sorry, my voice cracked. My voice cracked. I apologize for that. You don't know Manny Navarro?
Not by name. I'm sure that we're gonna get off this. I'm gonna look it up and just be like, oh wow, you're an idiot for not remembering that. But
we'll find out when we get off, Jake.
We'll find out. Hopefully, Johnny can find that out better than he tried to find that Kevin clip with Carlton.
We'll find that after too. We'll find that out.
Yeah.
I remember that too, and I was like, oh no.
Alrighty then. Let's get to the final segment here again. Carlton, thank you so much for spending an hour and 44 minutes with us. But it's been a blast.
Fine by me.
I wanted to ask you about any advice you would have to students either in the high school or collegiate level that want to do what we do, what you do, what we all want to do. And
say it to me, Carlton. Say it to me.
Yeah, say it to Kevin. Say it to everybody watching this. If you have anything else you want to say as well to I don't know, friends and family, the athletes.
Oh, I get
floor
on this.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, if I had any advice, just start doing it. I think one of the things that people get in their own heads about is they worry that, is their opinion right? Is their information like the most correct it can be? And especially when you're a broadcaster, you already have people's trust. You can go out and give the performance your best. And even if you're not perfect, it's going to be good enough. I always say this when it comes to public speaking, is everybody else in the room that you're speaking to recognizes that public speaking is hard. And so no matter how good you do up there, you already get this kind of blessing from the audience. You get a lot more grace than you think you're going to get. So, and for anybody who wants to crack into this, you have so many options available to you now, whether it's online. I mean, you can ask Kevin about this. You can break into even a professional sports franchise just from writing online, just from forming connections online and building a community that way. I mean, like I mentioned, I'm writing an article about Peter Pratt, who lives 4,300 miles away from the Marlins, and he's deeply involved and does a podcast on the Marlins, and is incredibly happy with what he does. So even if you think you have a niche, just pour yourself into it, and you'll be surprised how many people that you can inspire with it.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, I think I should just say, lights out.
Oh, wait.
Lights out! Lights out!
I had this remote in my hand for like the last 20 minutes. I was just
20 minutes. You were just waiting for the moment.
Just waiting to hit him with it.
You got it.
Alrighty then. Well, let's wrap it up here. Again, Carlton, thank you so much for hopping on. It was a super fun episode of the podcast.
Yeah, this was awesome, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Episode 48. Like I said at the start of the show, which feels like a lifetime ago, we're getting awfully close to episode 50. We have some awesome stuff planned ahead. Continued basketball coverage, and I know what Kevin is super excited for, baseball coverage next month. So that's Kevin. That's John. Oh, well, Johnny, what do you have to say?
I wonder what's your upcoming broadcast schedule looking like before baseball? Yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean? I'm doing them all.
No,
he does everything.
Are there going to be some women's games next week? Is that the plan?
I think I haven't talked with Kenneth. Kenneth has actually been doing a great job on women's games. And we may start. I haven't talked to him about this, so if he's listening now, it'll be a surprise. But I want to see if we can reciprocate where he gets to do some of the men's games, because he's terrific. He needs space to grow, so I don't want to hog everything up from him.
Fair enough. So, all right, let's get it done there. I'm Jake Gibson. My friends and co-hosts Kevin Burrell, Jonathan Mayer, our guest today, Carlton Gillespie. Again, thank you so much for being on, and till next time.
Yeah, anytime, guys.
Paws up, baby.